WrestleManiacs, Maniacs. This is the podcast, it's called WrestleManiacs. Adam, Donna, Indy, and Josh. They're now together forever and son. WrestleManiacs. This is the podcast, it's called WrestleManiacs. WWE, AEW, TNA, JPW. WrestleManiacs, WrestleManiacs.
Hey everybody, again, it is Josh here, Wrestle M Podcast, with a Friday Night Smackdown review, and what a hell of a Friday Night Smackdown we had. Again, we're talking about Paul Heyman being kicked out of the Bloodline, as well as some Money in the Bank qualifier matches, and a wild brawl to start the show. Let me tell you one thing, MSG, this has been a great Smackdown for the last couple of weeks, and I will say, you know what? Definitely, I did enjoy this one tonight. So let's get started. WrestleManiacs. Again, sorry I missed the NXT review this week. Had some more family things to deal with this week. A funeral tomorrow. But again, I am back for Friday Night Smackdown. And tomorrow, hopefully, I can record a NXT review from this past Tuesday. Because, of course, NXT is always busy as well. But let's get started. Ram Jam to start with. Hey, Josh. Hey, Ram Jam. Again, welcome back. Thanks for always tuning in, as well as you other viewers watching live tonight. So, let's get started and let's get going on the Friday Night Smackdown review. So we start out with, of course, the Bloodline arriving as always in their big giant SUV. Of course, the only thing is missing is Jacob Fatu. We don't see him. We see Solo Sikoa, Tonga Loa, and as well as, goodness me, I couldn't think of the other guy's name. Go figure, unfortunately. But again, everybody but Jacob Fatu. Paul Heyman is, of course, waiting for them to arrive and asks, where's Jacob Fatu? And basically, Solo just said, don't worry about it. So as they head out, again, the one camera shot WWE's been doing recently, heading out to the arena, we see the Bloodline go on the stage. And as they go, maybe about partway down the stage, maybe a quarter, let's just say, towards the ring, we see another black SUV arrive with Cody Rhodes, Kevin Owens, and Randy Orton. And they are hot to fit, and they are ready to go and start a brawl. So they actually run to the entrance. We get this face-off with the 3 versus 3, and we are starting at Donnybrook in a wild brawl to start SmackDown. We have got Kevin Owens going into the production area over to the right side of the, or left side, I should say, of the stage of the crowd. We have got, of course, Randy Orton as well as Cody Rhodes, the rest of them going to the ring, and what a wild brawl. I mean, this was a 3-camera shot. Great way they did it. Definitely a hot way to start WWE Smackdown tonight. I mean, look, Kevin Owens actually went through, I believe it was Tama Tonga. Not Tonga Loa, I'm not sure. I can't really remember, unfortunately. But actually put one guy on the table and did a, senton from literally the stands, essentially, onto the guy. And essentially, they all go back to the ring, essentially, and Nick Aldis sends out security as the Bloodline leaves. And the babyfaces actually are so damn mad that they actually attack security and attack them. So Nick Aldis just kind of waves it off, walks off towards the back. Not sure what he's going to do, at least at first. So what we have is the Bloodline has escaped again away from the baby faces. And the baby faces are just saying they're there for a fight, and they are there to basically kick their ass, essentially, and can't wait until Money in the Bank. They're ready to start something tonight. So then we have Nick Aldis come out with a bunch of police officers, New York's finest, and pretty much just tells them, hey, time to get out of the ring. I got a show to go. And, of course, the escalation from security being beaten up to them actually causes Nick Aldis to kick Randy Orton, Cody Rhodes, as well as Kevin Owens, and send them away from MSG, away from the show, and out of the arena. So definitely what a wild, crazy start to SmackDown, but a great start as well. Oh, Ram Jam, thank you. It was Tonga Loa. Again, sorry about that, guys, but yes, it's Tonga Loa. So thank you again, Ram Jam, for the clarification. So again, what a wild start to SmackDown. But we then head right on as business keeps on coming between the Money in the Bank qualifier triple threat match between Tiffany Stratton and Tiffy Time, Jade Cargill, and Candice LeRae. And, Tiffany Stratton ends up winning here. But, during the match, we have Nia Jax, Bianca Belair, and Indy Hartwell all on the outside. And Indy actually knocks Jade Cargill into the corner, essentially into the turnbuckle on the outside, hitting the metal, knocking her out, essentially, of contention, allowing Tiffany Stratton to get the win over Candice LeRae with her BME, the best moonsault ever. And, of course, this happens because Nia Jax and Bianca Belair are jaw-jacking one another on the outside, allowing, again, the referee to not see when Indy Hartwell attacks Jade Cargill, basically costing her the match. So again, Tiffy time is going on. We have the team of Tiffy Tom and Nia Jax definitely doing the watch thing. So it looks like there is actually an alliance between them two. Now we're going to get a triple threat tag team match, maybe throw in the women's tag team champions. Not really sure. But again, I'm definitely not hating the Tiffany Stratton and Nia Jax combination. It's definitely a little bit different. Gives Nia Jax something to do in between. And, you know, I'm just curious, again, if Nia Jax is going to go to SummerSlam and win, or maybe there's a way Tiffany Stratton somehow sneaks and grabs her crown or grabs her shot. Who knows? But again, I do like how this is going. So definitely interesting to say the least. We then go backstage with Bayley and Naomi, basically just talking to one another. Essentially, you know, Bayley saying, hey, you know, look, you know, you want to go for the title? Great. Naomi saying, yeah, I'm going to do it. And we get Blair Davenport. Actually, we call her Cruella DeVille in this house because of her black and white hair and always wearing a black and white kind of color scheme. But she wore pink tonight. Again, not a big deal, but I really like that they kind of added some color to her. So I thought that was pretty cool. Basically, she's just saying she's there to, you know, basically take names and, you know, cause trouble. So Blair Davenport basically just insults him and walks off. So I imagine there's going to be a feud probably between Blair and Naomi and maybe hopefully Bayley. Definitely Blair Davenport definitely has some credentials, I would say, in NXT UK as well as NXT. So excited to see her kind of show up and actually do something in SmackDown. So hopefully this will lead to more. We then actually get backstage again with Michin asking Aldis for a match against Nia Jax. Again, as we know, I think a week or two ago, basically she threw coffee at Nia Jax and Jax kept slipping and threw her over a table. So there's a match there coming. Then we have the Street Profits and B-Fab arrive. And basically, as they're talking to Nick Aldis, Pretty Deadly arrive and basically said they want to do Pretty Deadly the musical. And of course, the Street Profits says, I got a better idea. How about we do Pretty Deadly versus the Street Profits in the Beatdown musical. So we're essentially going to be getting that match probably next week, more than likely. So again, Nick Aldis, I mean, man, I'll tell you what, he's got the Bloodline and Cody Rhodes and Team RKO, I guess you'd call it, essentially having trouble together versus the Bloodline. So crazy enough as that is. But the star of the show tonight has been Paul Heyman, because if you look at his eyes, he looks haggard. His eyes look like he's tired. He's been crying the whole entire time. Master class, of course, in acting skills. Again, how the man has not ended up in any movie besides Rollerball over this entire career, I don't know. Because, again, the man can do anything. But we have Paul Heyman basically asking Solo, where's Jacob Fatu? And Solo's like, he's not here. He's not even in the arena, so don't worry about it. But you know what? Tonight, I'm going to make you my official wise man. And, you know, of course, Paul Heyman's saying, you know, why aren't you listening to me? He's like, I am listening to you. We're going to make it official tonight. So a little bit of a tease for later on that the actual commencement ceremony is not going to be for Jacob, but it's going to be for Paul Heyman to become the official wise man. So something screwy going on, but we'll talk about that here in a minute. We get another Money in the Bank qualifier match. Santos Escobar versus LA Knight versus Logan Paul. And let me tell you what, throughout the whole night, but especially during Logan Paul, there was multiple different times, especially during his entrance, just his entrance, they had to actually go to black and mute the audio because, again, the crowd was not having Logan Paul. They were flipping him off, saying, shut the F up. I mean, you know, definitely New York City, of course, is always known as a very hot wrestling bed area. But my goodness, I mean, the whole entire broadcast, I know they probably at least went to black 3 or 4 times just during his entrance. And so he brought out Tyrese, apparently one of the other sports stars we saw on Monday. And, of course, that's not popular with New York. There's a New York football guy there as well. Again, anybody that knows sports, I admittedly don't know sports that well. So my understanding, though, is that there's a lot of animosity for Logan Paul for sure. So in the end, actually, LA Knight gets the win here with a roll-up and pull the tights a little bit as Logan Paul tried that. And LA Knight actually becomes qualified to join the Money in the Bank field. Now, at the end of the match, we have Tyrese and Jalen Brunson, I guess, squaring off basically with Logan Paul. So LA Knight and Jalen Brunson stare off with Logan Paul and Tyrese, that other football guy. And, you know, again, there's a chair involved. And maybe we're going to get a sports type of tag team match. Again, I can't necessarily, it's not going to be like Dennis Rodman and the Mailman, Karl Malone. But, hey, WWE is entertainment now. And so, you know, it's going to be crazy for sure. Excuse me. Next, we go backstage, and we have Baron Corbin and Apollo Crews basically saying, hey, you know, congrats to LA Knight. And, of course, Apollo Crews has been having his issues with Legado del Fantasma, so he's happy that Santos Escobar is out of the match. And then comes little Carmelo. I call him little Carmelo because poor Carmelo, he just looks like it's so bad they put him with tall people. It really is, because it makes him look so small by comparison. But anyways, he goes to saying he's going to win the briefcase. He's going to have, Melo in the bank as a t-shirt, and Baron Corbin and, Apollo's just like, whatever, dude, get out of here. So he leaves. So Carmelo has some part of the show. Again, he's kind of still acting like he's this sort of main guy, which, again, understandable. But again, I hate how they're doing Carmelo because, again, he was big in NXT. So Ram Jam, what you got to say here? This interesting was Santos and Logan Paul were in the same ring, since Santos is the one who helped Logan Paul beat Rey Mysterio. Oh, good history lesson there, Ram Jam. I had totally forgotten about that. You are right. That is right. Santos did help Logan Paul win the United States Championship from Rey Mysterio. So good on you there. Thanks a lot. Appreciate that. And then we get a Andrade promo again about him talking about Money in the Bank, and it's his destiny. And not that Andrade doesn't have talent, he does. I think it's weird that his back spinning elbow move almost seems like he trips every time. I guess that's the idea. Not really a fan of it, but look, dude, you got to do something, because again, Andrade, like, I get he's a baby face, but why? Maybe when Charlotte's back, maybe they'll have a story between them. Maybe it'll make more sense. I hope so, because seems like we see these packages about Andrade all the time with his very thick accent. Again, nothing wrong with that. Shinsuke Nakamura gets away with his Japanese promos, and again, it's excellent. It's amazing how they do it. And again, I love that they're adding subtitles, and I love that they're actually having this sort of subtitle foreign characters. It's great. But again, what has Andrade done? He's NXT champion, United States champion. Hell, I forgot he was either one of those, because again, his run was, to me at least, not worth anything. And even still, what has he really done? He's just kind of, I don't want to say it this way, and it may sound controversial, but I don't mean it the way I say it. But I think of it like Pokemon, right? If you follow Pokemon, Santos Escobar is essentially the baby form. And then Andrade is kind of like the evolved form of Santos Escobar in terms of just bigger and buffer. Again, great athlete. Definitely about that. But I need something to sink my teeth into, because can you tell me a feud that he had that was fairly memorable in WWE recently? He's back, but again, in AEW, kind of the same way. Just has the Black Skull mask from Batman, essentially. Again, I know it's from, a luchador, but it just looks like, again, the Black Mask from Batman series. But anyways, again, I didn't like the whole Destiny part, because, again, it made me think of Alberto Del Rio, and there's the whole Peril thing. So, again, I hope they do well with him, but got to do something else, guys. You got to do something else, because I don't give a damn about Andrade right now. I want to, but give me something to sink my teeth into for once. We then get a Money in the Bank qualifier match between Blair Davenport, Naomi, and Indy Hartwell. And Indy Hartwell is actually confronted mid-match with Jade Cargill. Jade Cargill was not having none of it, of being screwed over in the match earlier. And this allows actually Naomi to get the win over Blair Davenport to go to the Money in the Bank match a week from Saturday. Excuse me again. We then get a backstage segment with DIY, basically saying, talking about Austin Theory and Grayson Waller. And Austin Theory says, hey, what are you talking about my partner for? And they're like, dude, he's not your friend. He literally pushed you in the way. We weren't even aiming for you. We were aiming for him. And every time he gets in the way, or we're going to get him, basically he pushes you in the way. And he's like, oh, I don't know about that, man. That's not cool. Grayson, of course, overhears this, comes and attacks and lays out actually DIY, both of them, and walks off. And actually so aggressive that Austin Theory is the one pulling them off of him. So, I'm liking this. I mean, again, it's an interesting story with Austin Theory kind of being the babyface in a way. I didn't expect that. I really kind of expected more it to be the opposite, where Austin Theory turns out to be the bad guy versus Grayson Waller. But again, maybe they see more in Waller and Austin Theory being a big star. So I wouldn't look at it that way. But again, not my company, Triple H. I just got to trust the process, right? Especially with Triple H and his long-term storytelling. So there's that. And then we get to our main event. I guess our main segment. Again, there really wasn't much of a main event, and we didn't hear from Cody Rhodes and Team RKO the rest of the night. So they were actually gone and didn't hear nothing from them. So Solo, again, the Bloodline comes out essentially, and he asks all of them. Jacob Fatu actually calls him out, even though he told Paul Heyman he wasn't there. Jacob Fatu was in the building. And again, boy, that entrance with the lone wolf, with the Samoan wolf, whatever you want to call him, werewolf. Oh, gosh. I mean, I'm loving the entrances of all the different Tongaloa, Tamatonga, and Jacob Fatu. Just, to me, I know that they've been trying to get Solo kind of over as this kind of monster, kind of heel, kind of ruthless, but I don't know, guys. I mean, again, as I said last week, Jacob Fatu still overshines Solo. It doesn't matter. He can just stand there looking crazy. He looks like a damn Samoan. Like a Wild Samoan. They had a little tribute to Alpha and Sika of the Wild Samoans since, again, Roman Reigns' father actually passed away. And, oh my God, they're just making Solo look bad. He looks like the damn driver with those stupid gloves. Jacob's music is fire. Yes, well, even the fire itself and the logo. I mean, I'm sorry, but forget the tribal chief of Solo Sikoa. To me, the story's got to be Jacob Fatu versus Roman Reigns. I don't care about Solo. Solo, to me, is just a fatter, lazier version of Umaga. And I hate to say it that way because he's got talent. But look, you go from beating John Cena to this, I still can't buy it. Now, the New York crowd had enough of him. They didn't want to hear nothing from him. They wanted to chant Roman Reigns. We want Roman. So really good. But again, as I said in the segment, basically Solo goes through each one of them, Tama Tonga, Tonga Loa, as well as Jacob Fatu saying, acknowledge me. They, of course, acknowledge him, throw the finger up. And then we get to Paul Heyman. And Paul Heyman actually sees them pull out the necklace Roman Reigns wore and basically says, Solo tells him, Paul, this is your last chance. You need to acknowledge me as your tribal chief. And he actually says acknowledge me, which Paul Heyman, with the great effects of saying, oh my God, I can't believe he did that, because that's Roman Reigns' line. Basically, he's saying he's now the tribal chief for real. So gives him again the necklace, and basically Paul Heyman kisses it and just kind of, you could tell he's not wanting to do it. The crowd's chanting, no, no, no. And I'll be damned if he doesn't say, Solo, I love you, but I do not see you as the tribal chief. I do not acknowledge you as the tribal chief. And boy, that's all it took, because after that, a Samoan spike to the throat, a splash from Jacob Fatu from the top rope, and a triple powerbomb shield style through the announce table. And Paul Heyman is essentially kicked out of the Bloodline. No more wise man, and Solo basically now is running his own entire gang. Now, again, will they call it the Bloodline? Don't know. Maybe there'll be a new name for it. Guerrillas of Destiny, maybe. Let's see here. Ram Jam. I rise the question, would we have Jey Uso win the Money in the Bank with the passing of Sika? I don't know, because now we have LA Knight in the wings as well. But again, I can see Logan Paul actually screwing LA Knight out of the Money in the Bank. And basically that leads to their SummerSlam match versus the United States title, where LA Knight finally wins his first championship from Logan Paul for the United States title. So I don't know. I mean, again, they could. Excuse me, but do I want to see Cody Rhodes and Solo Sikoa at SummerSlam? No. Don't give a damn. Will I see Cody Rhodes and Jacob Fatu? Yes. Would love to see it. But again, this is probably leading up to, again, Roman Reigns coming back during the mid-match, costing Solo the title, I'm sure. And maybe, maybe not. We'll see. Good question. I can see it because Rock is very family-oriented. I mean, look, he made his, grandmother the main event of the Hall of Fame. So I don't know. We'll see. Again, I wouldn't be upset about it. I mean, it'd be an interesting story for sure. Jay's needed something. Also, Ram Jam, you said, and can Paul Heyman pull off being a babyface after being a heel for decades? Oh, Paul Heyman can do whatever the hell he wants to. Paul Heyman can be, he doesn't even have to be a babyface. That's the thing. He literally just got his ass whooped, essentially. And I mean, look at his visuals. How could you not feel sorry? I mean, we've had this sort of thing where I thought it was silly. I thought it was crazy that he was scared of him. And again, it was all of a sudden scared of Solo. But now he's got these three crazy Samoans, especially Jacob Fatu, the werewolf, the one that really looks unhinged and doesn't grunt like Tama Tonga with the damn Taz impersonation. Not the wrestler, but the cartoon Taz from Looney Tunes. Yeah, I think he could. Again, Paul Heyman doesn't have to do anything. All he's got to do is just stand on the sidelines and basically cheer on Roman Reigns. That's all he's got to do. Because Roman has now become de facto the babyface after they've been trying for years and years to get him to become the babyface. So, yeah. Paul Heyman, I mean, that's the thing. Paul Heyman can do anything. Paul Heyman was the leader of ECW, could be over the ECW crowd in New York. That's what they did at MSG. I mean, he is famous for more ECW. He was going to get cheered no matter what. Even if he was a heel, they're going to cheer him. So, good idea, Rim Jam. Again, I mean, it's going to be hard because Paul Heyman has been a heel since, 2001? Probably since he became in the WWF at the time. So, it'll be interesting to see. We'll see what happens. But, I mean, boy, oh boy. Oh, let's see here. I can see Seth and Roman reunite one day since Jacob, Tama, and Tonga Loa using the triple powerbomb. See, yeah, I'm curious about that. That is interesting how they're going to do that. Maybe they'll do Roman and Seth, and maybe Cody Rhodes will be the de facto Jon Moxley, because why the heck not, right? Definitely wouldn't be upset about that. But you know what? That's it for SmackDown. Again, it was a pretty amazing show. I've got to say, Dala always does the whole Sean Spears perfect 10. And you know what? I'm going to give this an 8. Again, this is pretty good. Now, granted, the middle matches were all right. There wasn't anything that stood out to me in any of the matches. The LA Knight Logan Paul had a little bit more heat than I expected, especially with the New York crowd. MSG always is a hot show, it seems like. The beginning was great where we started, and the ending, my goodness, who would have telegraphed that they would have done the powerbomb? I could have seen the Samoan spike. I could have seen the splash, but the triple powerbomb to Paul Heyman? Look, guys, my wife doesn't even really watch wrestling that much. She's just started in 2022, so it has no real context or anything regarding, history of ECW, things like that. I'm trying to, but again, it's harder to get her to watch old stuff. But, I mean, telling her, look, in my time, I remember Paul Heyman really being brutalized this much. Have a GOD faction in WWE, Guerrillas of Destiny. Yeah, I mean, why not? Ram Jam. Anyways, I mean, so for seeing Paul Heyman, besides just getting an F5 or something, this was a lot for Paul Heyman to get a Samoan spike, a splash, and a triple powerbomb. I mean, they got to write him off some way, but boy, oh boy. Again, the star of the night was Paul Heyman with the visuals, the unshaven beard, the 5 o'clock shadow, the eyes himself, looking like he was crying the entire time. What a master actor. Again, Hollywood needs to take at least some notice of Paul Heyman because the man can do no wrong. So, anyways, that's it for me. Now, you might be seeing an NXT review here this weekend. Probably, again, I'm a little bit late, but I'm also going to be watching AEW Forbidden Door. You're also going to get a Raw, NXT, and SmackDown. And hey, you know what? We got a Money in the Bank coming up. We'll probably have a preview sometime next week, I imagine. But do me a favor, if you will. Again, always try to keep up with me as well on my Twitter at WrestleM Podcast, right there at the bottom, as you see, WrestleManiacs Podcast. I try to be pretty active on Twitter, or on X, I guess I should call it now. I definitely trying to make sure to be more involved, especially with Ram Jam and everybody else on there. But again, make sure to watch me every Monday, Tuesday, and Friday night, as well as on the weekends for any pay-per-views or PLEs that are coming up. Make sure to follow us on the YouTube channel under the A Plus Hero Report banner at WrestleManiacs Podcast. Again, at WrestleM Podcast. Also, make sure to give a follow to @Dotala_ at her Rangers of Wrestling podcast as well. She's a friend of the show, and again, she's a fellow WrestleManiac, and we just love her as much as we can. So again, also Adam Perez as well. Make sure to follow him too at A Plus Opinions. So again, folks, that is it for me. Thank you so much. Again, make sure to comment and like and subscribe to the video, and we will see you guys at Forbidden Door and sometimes NXT as well. So again, see you guys later, and thanks so much for your time. Have a good evening or good morning wherever you are in the world. Thanks so much.